Hi everyone, this is Stacy K in the Farmhouse in the Field, and this is my Flosstube number 2, take number 2. I actually created a video this past Sunday, but the glare was in a weird place, and I thought if it's bothering me, it's going to bother you, so here's my second attempt. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone that visited my channel for Flosstube number 1. I really appreciate it, and I'm very touched. So, thank you for your warm welcome. For Flosstube number 2, I'm going to show you 2 finishes. One, I actually showed you the chart on my Flosstube number 1, and after getting very frustrated trying to get my pumpkin done, I said I needed to see something that I could actually see the canvas, because the pumpkin is on a dark green canvas and it's very hard to see at night. So I have 2 completed. One I found in my closet when I was cleaning up, so I'll show you those. I have a couple whips, one that I didn't intend on doing, but I got into it and now I'm kind of obsessed with it, so I'm doing it pretty much every night. I will also show you some of my future plans. I did have some people that were interested in some of my quilting, so I'll show you a little bit of that. And we of course have to give out the names of the random draw, and have those people contact me, and I can get your charts out probably this Friday or Saturday. So, let's start with our finishes. Now, last Flosstube I showed you this beautiful collada chart, and I actually, again, I was frustrated with the pumpkins, so I grabbed that chart and I grabbed some of my, I had 16 count aida, and I just grabbed it. I didn't color it or anything, and I did this chart. Now, I did modify it. I actually bought the threads for this. I think that was Gentle Arts threads that it called for, and I remember thinking, oh, those are a lot more expensive than DMC. But I bought them, and they came, and I squirreled them away so that I made sure that I had them when I needed to do this. And then I lost them, so I have no idea where they are. So the only thread that's actually called for is this gold thread that's around the crown. Everything else is either I had it in my stash or I bought it. I bought this green metallic thread just because I liked it. There was another motif of the shamrocks here. I took it out. And I bought this cute little bangle off of Etsy. I think her name was Bead Bazaar. And I think it's a little shamrock. It's really cute, if you could see that. And, of course, I put my maiden name and my husband's name, which we both have Stacy and Steven, so our initials are the same for our last name. And with my hands, I give you my heart crowned with love. So, the only thing where I wish I had changed on this is I love this blue, and I picked up this blue, I think it was 3322 or 3822, and I picked it off of the chart that I am doing right now, another chart, and when I went to order more just to make sure I had enough for the other chart, I found it was a discontinued yarn, so that didn't help me. But I'm very happy with the way this came out, and I will be putting it up on my wall. Actually, this wall behind me. So the second finish is one that I did. It says in 2019, and I really like this. I love the colors. I don't know who the chart author is, but it's Eat, Drink, and Be Scary. And I think this is pretty common. I think you can still find it. But this one never got framed because I took it to my local Joann's, and they wanted over $300 to frame this. And I said, no, I'm not paying that much for a chart that maybe I spent $8 on. So I will eventually frame this. I actually, part of my haul that I got Saturday is I went over to my local Goodwill, and they have absolutely beautiful frames over there. So I'll show you some of it that I got, and we'll knock one of the pictures out of there and put these guys in there. So, in terms of my whips, this is the one that I showed you last time, and I wasn't planning on doing it. And it is the Old Glory by Rosewood Manor. And I've gotten addicted to doing this. So, in this one, I think last time I showed you this, we'll take it out of the chart here, or out of the hoop. Last time I showed you this, I had just had a portion of the Centennial flag done. And as you can see, I have completed that. This is the 1776 to 1876. And just wondering how many of you guys remember the bicentennial. I know I do. I was about 5 when it happened, but it was a big deal. And I've got the side done that says From Sea to Shining Sea. And I'm working on the waves at the top. This one, I didn't follow pattern, but I'm saying that for 2021 my motto is there are no mistakes, there are only unique chances for personalization. So that's what we're going with. What I am going to do is, if there's enough space between this and the last motif, because what I did is I followed the top, the red pattern, and I just assumed they were all the same size of stripes, and they're not. So if I have too much space here, what I'll do is I'll put a sentiment like Hail Columbia or something like that in there. And I'll just stitch that in there to take up the space. I am working right now on the waves because I want to make sure that when I get this all across the top that I haven't shortened myself. I don't think so, because I actually have a lot of space down here too. But I want to make sure I don't get all this stitched up only to find out that I'm short and I can't finish it in the way that it's supposed to be finished. So I'm doing the waves next, and then I'll work on the inside. And that's pretty much my nightly pattern. I do that pretty much every night. Again, as I said, I'm getting pretty addicted to that. Okay, some more from my closet clean out that I found. I didn't even realize I had started this. I found this Welcome Every Month. It's a cross-stitch chart where you also create the little pieces here, and then I'm going to assume they've got some kind of connection, maybe Velcro or something on the front door. And I had actually found where I had started this. And that is right here. It's a little wrinkly because, again, I haven't done anything with it, but I did see that I had started that. And so at some point I will finish that and get to work on that because I've already started it. Okay, let's go on to some future projects, near future projects. Alright, I purchased all the material. I'm going to try to do this on 18 count. This little sunflower here, just for actually this wall. I purchased all the DMC called for threads this Saturday, so that I think I can nail that out in no time flat. So, famous last words, but I'm going to try that next. And then this is going to sound really strange, but I'm going to do a birth sampler for my 21-year-old son. And I've chosen Beatrice Potter Tom Kitten. I actually, when I was pregnant with my son, I had bought 3 Beatrice Potter samplers, birth samplers, not knowing which one I was going to do. And like all young mothers, it was all I could do to keep him healthy and work and try to have some semblance of my house clean enough for us to live. Doing anything extra was not going to be in the cards. I did do it for my niece who was born before him, In fact, I think I did the same one for her. But I just couldn't get it done when he was born. He did get a quilt, and you'll see that later on in this video. But I couldn't get this finished at all. There was just no way. So that is the current projects, work in progress, finishes, and future projects. Now, the next thing we need to do is we had a drawing for these 3 charts. And in no particular order, we have Karen Sheridan, Darlene Baumgardner, and Carol Osborne. I will check your comments. I don't know that any of you had said specifically which chart you wanted, but I will check a second, double check that to make sure. And if you did, I will get you the chart that you mentioned. If none of you did, then email me. My email is thevelvetskye@yahoo.com with your address and which pattern your first choice and your second choice. So it's going to be first come, first serve if I don't see any specific chart. So whoever emails me first, you'll get your first choice, your second choice, and the third choice. Whoever, in that order, whoever gets first email gets the first choice. Second email, if it's not taken, you can get your choice or your second one. And the third person that emails me gets the third chart, whatever's left. So email me soon. If I don't hear from you within 2 weeks, we'll put it up on my next floss chart. Or Flosstube, sorry. Okay, in terms of haul, I don't do a lot of haul videos or do anything with haul, but I did, like I mentioned, go to the Goodwill, and I got some really great frames that what I'll do is I'll knock out the pictures and we will put cross stitch in there. I actually used to frame one point in my life, but I never framed cross stitch. I always just framed pictures and images. So having these cross stitch and being inspired by Flosstube, I'm going to see if I can get into framing these and getting these all worked up. Other things that I got at Goodwill, I got this little tray that I thought would be really pretty to put maybe a band sampler out. Take this out. The only thing that I feel really bad when I find stuff like this. I mean, it's beautiful and it would probably end up in a landfill if I didn't pick it up. But when I got this home, I pulled the back off to show my husband. And on the inside, there is a placket that says, "Remembrance from Reverend John Lavelle on our 18th wedding anniversary, 9/13/1966. So when you find stuff like that, it makes you feel really sad because either somebody was cleaning this out and they just tossed it, maybe their kids, maybe someone cleaning out the estate. And you know that this meant something to somebody, and here it ends up at a local Goodwill. Of course, it could have ended up in the landfill, but, you know, that's kind of sad and bittersweet when you see that. But I will probably put a band sampler in this, because I think the frame is just beautiful. So I found that, and I think that was all of $2.99 for that. The other thing I found, and I don't know why I needed this in my life, but I needed this in my life, is I found these cute little pear plates and pear bowls. And I'm sure that they were meant for, you know, little poached pears that you'd put in there or something small. But I thought, if you didn't use them for cutlery or for table settings, wouldn't this be cute with like a band sampler of either like summer or pears or something, and just put a big band sampler and then glue that in here. Or for this, making that into a pin cushion. Make a great big pear pin cushion. I think that would be absolutely adorable. So those are some of my weird finds and my weird ideas of what to do with them. Now, I did have someone mention that they wanted to see some of my quilting. I will show you, I'll insert here a picture of what I'm working on right now. It was in the background of my Flosstube number 1. And that was kind of my masterpiece. What it is, and I'll show you right here. I'm doing a quilt for my son that will have my side of the family going as far back as I can, and my husband's side of the family going as far back as he can. My sister's big in genealogy, and I got hooked on Ancestry specifically for this project. One of the things I did is I wanted to initially get the signatures of all my family members, so we actually had something that was personal. And I did up until I got to my grandparents, which obviously the cards that you guys grandkids were, as the kids, were always grandma this or grandpa that. And I want the actual names. So that took a lot more work. I was able to get my grandma and grandfather's signatures off of my parents' mortgage. I was able to get my great-grandfather's signature off his draft card, which I found on Ancestry. And then for my grandmother, my great-grandmother, I eventually got it out of my parents' wedding registry. But in the process of looking for that, I found a lot of information which I thought was really fascinating. I found out that my grandmother was not only a Rebecca, but she was the president of the Rebeccas in the 50s. And if you don't know what a Rebecca is, they were a social organization. They were akin to the Oddfellows. They worked in conjunction with the Oddfellows, and they would do charitable work for the community. So that was interesting to find out. I also found out with Ancestry that a lot of the guys that had fought or had been eligible for the draft in World War I were also eligible for the draft in World War II when they were in their 40s, which I found fascinating. But I was able to get those actual signatures from those different documents that I found on Ancestry. So I've got pretty much my family signatures as far back as my great-grandparents. And so that plus what I'm doing for I've got my sister-in-law that was able to do that as much as she could for her side of the family, and now I can put it together in a quilt. So the idea is that not only is my son going to have a quilt where he is surrounded physically by his family, but he'll know that he is loved and protected by all these people who were his family that came before him. So I think that's kind of neat. So other things that I'm doing, I'm also doing a wall hanging of these bluebirds. And I've got them all done. I still got to do the applique beaks and legs. But those I think are really cute. This fabric always reminds me of my great-grandma Seal. She's the one that does the blanket that I showed the last time that I'm remaking. But I'm going to do these all up. And that's going to be a wall hanging for my bedroom above my bed, because it's pretty blank right now. Additionally, one of my cousins was supposed to get married last year, but obviously COVID kind of put the kibosh on that at this point. But I always make one of my projects, and I'll show you here, I'll insert them here, One of the things that I really wanted to do for my family when I really got hot and heavy into quilting is I wanted to make a quilt for each member of my family so that when I'm gone they have a remembrance of something that I made for them that they can keep for the rest of their lives. So I'm going to insert some pictures here. The first quilt you're going to see here is the quilt that I made for my mother. You'll see that the first pattern that I ever did and the pattern that I do the most is the Star of Bethlehem. So you're going to see that all throughout all these pictures here. I did Star of Bethlehem for everybody in my family. But they're all different and they're all unique for their unique personalities. So this is the first one that I did for my mom and dad. And then this one I did for my niece Shay. And then this one I did for my niece Jenna. This one I did for my father, and this is actually a hobo quilt. So the center is the Star of Bethlehem, but all the way around it, these are hobo symbols. And the hobo symbols is from a book called Hobo Quilts. And what it was is it was a language that people that would travel from town to town would mark on certain houses, certain fences, etc., to let other travelers know, hey, there's a doctor that'll treat you for free here. Hey, you can get a free meal here. Hey, this guy's mean. This guy has a shotgun. Stay away from him. These guys, they're nasty. Stay away from this house. And so all these little symbols that you're going to see around this quilt, these are all hobo symbols that mean something. And the final quilt I'm going to show you here, this is my son's quilt. So this is the one that I started before he was born. He got it when he was 2. But I think it's pretty special. And there was a contest up at the library put on by the local quilt stores. And the cute story about this is I was going to take this up and have that in that contest. And my son said, Mom, I really don't want you to do that because, you know, this is special to me. And he was a teenage boy, so I thought that was just like, oh, my baby loves my quilt that I made him. So these are the quilts that I've already made. And I like to make quilts to mark special occasions in people's lives. And so as I mentioned, my niece was going to get married last year. So it was kind of delayed. So what I'm doing for her and her fiance is I'm making them for their wedding a bunch of Lemoyne stars. So it's going to be a Lemoyne star quilt. So that is my Flosstube for this month, for the month of April. I hope to be back with you for Flosstube number 3. I've got a lot more things to show you. So please subscribe, like, watch, and I will see you again. Thanks so much. Bye now.